Hey everyone, Wydek welcoming you to a series, a best of 3 series from the WCS Season 2 European Edition. And this time on Belshire Vestige, we've got spawning in the bottom right as the Blue Terran, representing Mouse Sports. We've got Lucifron. And Lucifron's opponent is spawning in the top left, spawning as the Red Protoss. Representing NRSoft, one of the best players from Finland, we've got Welmu. Now both players are very strong in Europe, so it'll be interesting to see who's going to come out on top here. Lucifron usually favors Reaper opening. I'm not sure what he's going to be doing today. He is putting a supply depot at that ramp, so it looks like he will be blocking this off. I think that is a wise choice. But interesting, he is moving his SCV away, and he's plopping down a barracks away from that ramp. So this is kind of an interesting play from Lucifron. Generally, when you put that supply depot there, it kind of means that you want to block it off with a barracks. Not only is the barracks actually better in a lot of ways when it's blocking that ramp, not only because it blocks scouting, but also because your units are actually a lot closer to your opponent's base. Rally points are closer to defend your natural. So I'm not sure why Lucifron is putting it in the middle of his base, but all the power to him. He is a professional player, and I am not, so he probably knows what he is doing. Now Welmu is opening up with a very standard build assimilator with Gateway. Going to be going for the Cybernetics core right away. Protoss starting build orders are pretty standard. There's not much you can deviate from because once you don't get assimilators early, you can't get stalkers, and stalkers have range, and you really need stalkers. Unfortunately for Protoss players, their first unit is not range oriented, but we do have Reapers on the way from Lucifron. So I mentioned before that Lucifron seems to really like Reapers. Now Reapers on Belshire Vestige are not as effective as say on Star Station, but they are okay on this map. To get up into the main, you do have to jump up twice, but there is this area here around the natural that you can jump up once and then jump into the main. You can also jump into the main from behind the mineral line over here. So this Reaper might be doing some of that action. Here is the Reaper. The Reaper is going to be jumping up to where I was pointing to earlier. We'll be able to scout out that Nexus, and it's going to run up that map, and it's going to find that mothership core there, and now that Reaper is going to have to retreat. Not going to be able to do any damage, unfortunately, for Lucifron. Now, Lucifron is getting a command center and a factory behind this, and he is still trying to scout out that main base. That mothership core is being very pesky, not letting him scout out any additional information. But there's not that much to scout. But, you know, whenever you are a player, it's nice to confirm things instead of assume. So it looks like this Reaper is just going to shoot down with his dual pistols on that Nexus. Not much damage is going to be done there, so Welmu is going to let that occur. And we do have a robotics facility now set down by Welmu. And this Reaper is still trying to get in there, trying to see some information. But unfortunately, now with that Stalker and Mothership core duo out, this Reaper's going to find it a very difficult task to do that. And Lucifron looks like he's going to be doing a game of Ring Around the Rosie. Unfortunately, the Mothership core is already in position. Now, one thing you do have to note is that the Reaper is faster than the Mothership core substantially. But the Reaper is not able to get any more scouting information. So very good move by Welmu, keeping this robotics facility secret. He is going to be pumping out an observer out. But at the same time, we do have a small pack of Marines of about 6 with the Widow Mine moving across the map. Maybe going for a swift counterattack, trying to take down some pros before Welmu's actually in position. Now Welmu is moving back his 2 stalkers to protect his natural. Not sure if that's his spider sense tingling or something else is going on. But at the same time, the Reaper is going to be able to get into Welmu's base, is going to be able to get a full scout out, sees the forge, able to harass some probes. But the Marines are not going to be able to do too much. 1 Marine is destroyed. The Widow Mine is in position, though, and going to be able to destroy 1 probe. Welmu very fortunate there, not losing more. But that Reaper was able to kill a few probes as well, bringing up the total probe loss to 3. So Lucifron, I think, was very successful there. Now, by no means is Welmu so far behind by losing those 3 probes that he can't come back. But that is a nice pick off by Lucifron. Now, it looks like with that medevac as reinforcements, he's going to be able to drop into the main with it. And there aren't that many observers in position. We do have an observer moving into position. Is he going to be able to spot it? Yes, he is going to be able to spot that medevac as it boosts into the main. The 2 stalkers are rallying, and there will be an additional stalker as a reinforcing unit. So the medevac is going to have to retreat for the time being. So Lucifron almost, just barely, that observer was able to pick up on that medevac position. Otherwise, Lucifron might have been able to do a lot of significant damage there. Once again, trying to go for the drop, but there is one stalker there. Welmu's not paying a lot of attention. There is a reinforcing photon cannon, so this Widow Mine might go down before it's able to get a shut off. No, able to destroy a few probes, but not much else. Now, what is important for Lucifron is that he's able to escape with the medevac, and he's also able to see all these gateways in the back. And that's going to give Lucifron an idea that Welmu might be pushing out very soon, because lots of gateways means lots of units. So Lucifron is going to be bunkering up. 2 more bunkers are set up immediately. And with 2 barracks with those tech labs, he's going to be able to pump out more and more Marauders. Marauders are very good against Stalkers. So Lucifron able to scout out that incoming gateway push, so that's very unfortunate for Welmu. If he was able to surprise his Terran opponent, he might have been able to overwhelm him. Instead, Lucifron knows what is coming, and he's going to be ready for it. Now, we do have a Twilight Council coming, as well as the 3rd Nexus for Welmu. Now, Lucifron is still stuck on 2 bases. He does have his 3rd Orbital Command ready to lift off, but he's not really comfortable trying to find that 3rd base as of yet. So Lucifron is just mining on 2 bases. Now, we do have a Warp Prism on the way for Welmu, as well as Zealot Charge and +1 weapons, and that's a really, really big force to be reckoned with, because what the Warp Prism does for Welmu is it gives him the option to attack the front and distract Lucifron, and then drop and or warp in additional units into the main. I think this is a very, very big play. I've seen it work so many times for Protoss players. And Lucifron doesn't have any missile turrets in his main. He doesn't have any missile turrets in his natural. And he doesn't have any units waiting around his production facilities. So when this Warp Prism arrives, Welmu has to make sure that he's going to be able to distract the front. Otherwise, this sort of attack is not going to work out. Now, we do have 2 High Templars and a Zealot here. Psionic Storm has been started, but it's going to be a while longer before it's going to be finished. Now, Lucifron is going to be establishing his 3rd base. No SCVs yet, but the Orbital Command has landed. And Welmu's 3rd base has been completed as well. The probes are going to be mining from this base. There we go. Those very, very busybody probes are going to be mining. Now, at the same time, Welmu is just hanging out between his 2nd and 3rd base. Not sure where the forces of Lucifron are. He does observers around the map, but it looks like he's not able to spot out that Lucifron is moving across the left side of the map. At the same time, Welmu is going to be pushing across with his Warp Prism. He's got 2 Zealots and 2 High Templars. It looks like it's going to be a straight-out drop. The SCVs are all prone. Psionic Storm is almost finished. Now, the SCVs are going to try and surround these Zealots. Oh, a big Psionic Storm does go down, able to cut down a lot of SCVs. Another one goes down, able to destroy 8 more SCVs. 22 in total have been destroyed. But at the same time, there's a big drop at the main. Welmu is going to lose his main Nexus. Welmu is going to try and reinforce his position with Zealots and Stalkers. At the same time, we still have the Warp Prism in the main of Lucifron's base, but Welmu is not warping in units as of yet, and now that Templar Archives is under attack as well, and Welmu is going to lose that vital tech structure. At the same time, it looks like Lucifron is going to be boosting away with 4 medevacs, so very, very destructive ends on both parts of the map. Welmu losing his Nexus, and losing about 20 SCVs was Lucifron, and that's very unfortunate for both players, so it's hard to tell who's really ahead. Now, Lucifron does have a slight supply advantage, but that doesn't necessarily tell you who is ahead. Now, if we take a look at resources lost, Welmu is behind in this category slightly, but I think the game is pretty even for both players currently. Tit for tat. And I think it's really going to be up to which player is going to be able to strike a massive blow in the next few minutes that's going to be able to take a lead in this game. Now, the Observer is in this position, able to spot those 3 medevacs immediately, and so Welmu is going to move immediately into position. Lucifron scans ahead of time to see what's going on, and there's just too many units with High Templars, not going to be able to do too much there. But Lucifron is going to be moving a small attack force over to this third base. Now, there are some Zealots and some High Templars here, and with that Photon charge going down, the small group of Marines and Marauders are not going to be able to do too much, so Lucifron is going to have to withdraw. So Lucifron is being the aggressive player here, trying to make something happen. Welmu's just trying to stabilize on his 3 bases, constantly building more and more units. He's got Colossi coming out now. But the well-placed Observer here on the left side of the map is constantly able to see what these medevacs are doing. So until Lucifron's able to get rid of this Observer, I don't think any drops on the left side of the map are going to be very successful. But Lucifron's not able to pick up on that position of that Observer, and that's very unfortunate for Lucifron, very good for Welmu. Now, Welmu is going to be moving across the map once again with another War Prism. He does have 3 Zealots and a Sentry. Very strange combination. With that Sentry, it kind of tells me that he's going to be trying to drop possibly at the natural of the main and to block off that ramp. So reinforcements can't go up or down that ramp. But that War Prism is moving across to that third base, so I'm not sure how effective that Sentry is going to be. Now, we do have a bunker here with a missile turret. And I don't think this attack is going to be very successful. So the War Prism is going to find cover. Now this Sentry does have slightly more range than the Marauders in that bunker. Already has 2 kills, slowly whittling away. And he's actually going to put a force field on that missile turret. Not sure how effective that's going to be. Killing another few SCVs here, but we do have a drop at the main again. Welmu is focusing down on this Nexus. There are reinforcing Zealots, and as well, there are Stalkers. But Welmu is not going to be able to chase these 3 medevacs. 4 units are left behind to be sacrificed. A pretty good trade for Lucifron. Able to take off that Nexus once again. But not really substantial damage done. Causing a lot of lost mining time for our Finnish player. But the supplies are fairly even. And Welmu does have quite a few more resources than Lucifron. So even though Lucifron was able to take down that Nexus once again, I'm not sure how much damage that actually does do to Welmu. Now, obviously, you don't want to lose your Nexus. You are losing mining time. But the supplies are fairly even. Welmu is only behind by about 13 supply. And Welmu, once again, is in position. Wow! 3 great feedbacks. And Stalker Fire able to destroy all those medevacs. And the supplies even up instantly. So now Lucifron, you know, with those lost units, the resources lost is almost dead even. So it looks like Lucifron's luck ran out with all those medevac drops. And now he's going to be pushing across the map. He's going to be moving to the right side, looking for a possible 4th expansion. And his intuition is correct. A Nexus is forming. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be able to finish here. Now, Welmu is going to let that Nexus fall. This is very interesting. Welmu is falling back to his third base and warming in more and more gateway units. But Lucifron, able to take down that Nexus, is very content and is now going to fall back. Now, what we do have from Welmu, interestingly enough, he is ahead in upgrades. So he's going to get 3-3 before our Terran player. Now, Lucifron is going to get +3 weapons before he gets +3 armor. So there's going to be a window here for Welmu to have a slightly better upgrade than Lucifron for about 3 minutes or 4 minutes or so. So can Welmu use his 3-3 advantage over his 3-2 opponent? But it looks like Welmu is playing very defensive here. Oh, sorry. I clicked the seeking button, and now it's going to go all the way back. I'm going to have to fast forward. I don't think I've ever done that before, so I have to apologize for doing that. Okay, so there we are. Gotta fast forward it just a bit. So once again, this is going to be a replay of the last few moments of that 4th base being conceded by Welmu. But what I was saying was that now Welmu is going to get 3-3 in just a moment here, and Lucifron's going to have +3 weapons, and +2 armor upgrades. So Welmu's going to have a small window where he's actually ahead in upgrades. But whether or not he's going to be pushing ahead is going to be entirely up to Welmu. But Lucifron is constantly being more aggressive here. He's been much more aggressive the last 10 minutes, constantly dropping in the main, able to take out that 4th, forcing the cancel. And even though Welmu's going to have the upgrade advantage here, he's still kind of falling back and playing defensive. So it's very interesting. Sometimes being the patient player does pay off, because you do have home base defense advantage. We'll have to see if that is the case that plays out here. Now Lucifron is moving ahead. He has all his ghosts in the front lines, losing 1 ghost there. It's a lot of innards. Well, that's a big rib cage for a ghost. Anyways, the Stalkers are going to blink forward, but Lucifron is going to be retreating slightly at least. Now Welmu is trying to reestablish another 4th base, except this time on the left side of the map. Now is Lucifron going to be moving across the map trying to stop that? Now he doesn't know about that base, but he does have his 4th base established. Is he going to be setting up a planetary fortress? I suspect he will. Now, at the same time, it looks like both players are going to be moving to the center of the map. Are we going to see a big confrontation here? As both players are nearly maxed out, the scan does go down. Welmu's forces are spotted by Lucifron. The Vikings are in position, able to take a lot of pot shots at those Vikings for free. No retaliations. Now, the Storm does go down, not catching that many units. Snipes are going down as well. The EMP catches a whole bunch of High Templars. So the High Templars are not able to cast Psionic Storm. The Vikings are able to take out that Mothership Core as well. And now it looks like Lucifron might be in a very good position here. He is behind by about 14 supply. But he has pushed Lucifron back. Lucifron has pushed Welmu back into his base. And now the 4th base of Welmu is totally open for business. And that's very bad for Welmu. He's going to lose all these cannons, the pylons, and the Nexus. He still has this left pylon here. So he might be able to reinforce at a later state in the game. But that is very unfortunate. Now, at the same time, we do have harassing Zealots at this 3rd base of Lucifron's. SCVs are trying to deal with them. Look at these Zealots. They got 7 kills, 6 kills. That's a lot of SCVs going down to just 2 Zealots. The Vikings are going to land, able to pick off. No, that Zealot is still alive with 2 life. There we go. Able to go down finally. So Lucifron able to do a lot of damage there. Not only that, he has his reinforcing pylon over at that 4th base of Lucifron. So neither player is mining from 4 bases. So very good play from both players. And now Lucifron is going to engage at his 4th base, trying to take down this Zealot. There we go. Finally, this command center can land. But we still got this pylon here. So Lucifron is going to fire down on it. There we go. It is going to be destroyed. But at the same time, it looks like Welmu is going to take control of this North Zelnaga tower. And we do have another incoming raid of 5 Zealots. Now, this planetary fortress is not going to finish upgrading before the Zealots are able to do substantial damage. Now, I'm surprised Lucifron doesn't have any units in there, but we have a huge engagement in the middle map. The Vikings are able to focus down on these Colossi. All the ghosts are cloaked currently. They do a lot of EMPs that are very successful. So the Stalkers don't have any energy. The Archons go down in a flurry as well. And it looks like Welmu is losing this engagement handedly. Supplies have really dipped significantly for both players, but Welmu especially. And now, since the High Templars don't have any energy and there are no Colossi in this pack, the Psionic Storm does go down, able to do significant damage, but is that going to be enough for Welmu? Lucifron is reinforcing this position with the Medivacs. The Ghosts are still cloaked. There are no observers here, it looks like. 2 observers are coming in here, but the Vikings are able to strike them down immediately. And now Lucifron with his invisible ghosts are going to be able to go in here and wreak havoc. Now, half the ghosts are not cloaked, half of them are, but that's still a lot of units Welmu cannot see. And those supplies are dipping for both players. You got to remember, where is all the action happening currently? It's happening at Welmu's Natural. Now, the probes are going to try and transfer. I think this is a very bad time. The Ghosts and Vikings are going to focus down, able to destroy all those probes that were trying to transfer to that 4th base. And now this Nexus at the Natural is also under attack. The probes are pulled off, trying to defend the Nexus. defend the motherland. Unfortunately, it's not going to be very successful. We do have 2 Archons coming in here, but Archons are not very good against Ghosts now. These Ghosts don't have any energy, so no EMPs are going to go down, but they are going to fall anyways, it looks like. And we have reinforcing Marines and Marauders. The supplies are totally in favor of Lucifron by about 40. Resources lost is really in favor of our Terran player, so Welmu is really, really behind. And now that Lucifron is mining from his 4th base, and the fact that Welmu's lost his Natcher, mind you, there aren't any resources here, but he's not mining from his 4th. He's really hurting for resources, and he's behind in supply. Lucifron has jumped out to a 2-to-1 supply advantage, and now his pack of Ghost Marines, Marauders, and a few Vikings are going to move across the map to that 4th Nexus, and he's going to be focusing down on it. And I think once this Nexus goes down, I don't think there's any way that Welmu can come back. He's just too far behind in supply. He's too far behind in resources. And these 2 cannons are also going to go down. Very unfortunate for Welmu, because for a while he had the supply advantage, and it looked like he might come out ahead. But instead, it looks like he is going to fall here. Now, we do have Dark Templars moving across the map. Unfortunately, the scans do go down immediately, stopping the potential harassment of the Dark Templars. And it looks like we might be ready for one last engagement. We've got 3 Archons and 1 Colossus, as well as High Templars. And remember, if High Templars get a few good storms down, that could totally change the complexion of the game. Now, Lucifron is still ahead by about 60 supply, so he's going to play it safe here. Interesting. He's going to be the patient one for once in this game. Now, he does have the base advantage, so if he is patient, he should hold out and be able to win, even if he doesn't trade perfectly well. Because remember, when you have 4 bases and your opponent only has 3, obviously, the longer the game goes on, you're going to be ahead economically, and you're going to be able to build a lot more units than your opponent. So Lucifron is going to be employing the slow and steady approach now that he has the lead. It's going to be up to Welmu, I think, to make something happen here. So he'll have to establish a 4th base. He's going to try and do that here, and or take out one of these bases. Now, it's going to be very difficult because I think the army size of Lucifron is just too large for Welmu to deal with. And we have a 1 lone Marine stimming into this 3rd base, not destroying anything. That is a very, very burnt corpse. And he is going to disintegrate slowly into the ether. But Lucifron is now in the middle of the map. It looks like he's not going to be defending his 4th base. He's going to be looking for potential bases of Welmu to attack. Now, he is going to be moving back again. But I really thought that Welmu might come out as the victor. He had a small supply advantage, and he was being more patient. And he was kind of waiting for Lucifron to move into a small choke point area and kind of storm and use his Colossi to focus down on that area. Because the strength, obviously, of splash damage is really, really strong, especially in concentrated areas. So you don't want to engage in an open area if you can avoid that. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for Welmu, and now it looks like Lucifron is going to move in, try and attack his 4th base. EMPs do go down. These Archons don't have any energy. A storm does go down, catching a lot of units, not killing any, though. And unfortunately, it looks like Welmu is going to have to retreat. Now, remember, it looks like 80% of his units don't have any shields or energy. And that means these Archons and High Templar are not going to be very useful. They are going to form into Archons, so no more Sonic Storm. The Marines are going to go to town. Welmu is going to have to tap out. So Lucifron was just very aggressive. And it kind of worked out for the first 15, 20 minutes of the game, and then he lost all his medevacs in this position. And then I really think the turning point was when Lucifron was able to force a cancel on this 4th, and he was able to get his 4th up and running. And when he was being aggressive in this part of the map, and even though the supplies were even, Lucifron was able to take an advantage there. And I think from that point on, Welmu wasn't able to recuperate. So we're going to have to see in Game 2 what kind of changes Welmu's going to make to his game, if any. So good game by both players. Let's head over to Game 2.